Good evening, everyone. Welcome. I'd like to call the Hammond Redevelopment Commission meeting to order on this Tuesday, October 18th, 2022. It is now 4:30. The meeting will begin. Can you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a quick moment of silence after? Mr. Myrick, could you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner. Can we get a roll call then on tonight's commissioners?
Talmadge.
Here.
Soto Presley.
Here.
Garay.
Here.
Myrick.
Here.
Poppridge.
Here, for the record, all five are present. I am going to allow Attorney Westland, if he wants to get started for item 13, he can start opening up the packets, get them all in order. And then when we get to number 7, Attorney Westland will discuss number 7. All right, then number 3 is declaration of conflict of interest.
Those three, I don't know what they are.
Okay, number 4 is communications.
None were received.
Okay, number 5 is our homebound conditional forgivable loan approval. Looks like we have 2 applicants, but for the same address, correct?
Yes, Mr. Brendan Bearhead and Ms. Caitlin Grubasic for 1121 River Drive, and Ms. Grubasic is a teacher.
Okay. Welcome. Appreciate you coming on down here.
Of course.
So may we ask you, how did you hear about our program?
I heard about it online, actually, through a listing on Realtor.com.
Are you guys first-time home buyers?
Yes.
One of you is a teacher, correct?
Yes, yes.
Do you have any other questions? Anyone else have any questions for the applicants?
I do not.
Mr. President, I make a motion for the approval of the homebound conditional forgivable loan approval for
Second.
Brandon Bearhead and Caitlin, I'm sorry, how you pronounce your last name?
Grubasic.
Grubasic for 1121 River Drive.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion then by Commissioner Myrick, seconded by Commissioner Talmadge. If there's no further questions, then roll call, please.
Talmadge.
Yes.
Soto Presley.
Yes.
Garay.
Yes.
Myrick.
Yes.
Poppridge.
Yes, motion passes 5 yes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You may be excused if you like. Okay, number 6 is an emergency program commission notification for the record. It's for Audrey Franklin at 7435 Magoon.
Yes, and Ms. Franklin is not present. I will contact her again to see if we can get her here, but she's not present.
So there's no action then needed by the commission tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea.
Okay, that brings us to number 7. Got an approval of development agreement between Hammond Redevelopment Commission and the Hammond Park 24 LLC.
Members of the commission, what you have before you today is a development agreement. We're really excited. It's an exciting time for the city of Hammond. The development agreement will cover the construction of a 400,000 square foot spec building with an investment with an excess of over $35 million. We're very excited about this development because, as you know, we have not had a spec building even proposed within the city of Hammond for quite a while, so we always welcome new investment. So Attorney Westland will go over it some, but what we also wanted to do was make sure that after, prior to you approving it, we had some subject twos that we added to the development agreement, because we, although we definitely encourage redevelopment or new construction, we definitely saw there's some technical issues that we want to make sure are just actually addressed prior to prior to us awarding the incentive for this. So one of the things we would like is the resolution of a departmental technical review. The second item would be the resolution of vehicle turn movements and street improvements on Marble Street, Wabash Avenue, and the proposed Almond Street, including coordination with NICD. The third item is resolution of sanitary sewers in Marble Street regarding gravity sewer versus force main and including water lines. The fourth item is the resolution of construction, reconstruction, or overlay of Marble Street from the railroad tracks to state line. And the fifth item is the approval of US EPA item Indiana DNR regarding stormwater discharge into the Grand Calumet River and protection of environmental cap. So these are some additional requirements that we wanted to add to this project. And at this time, I don't know if Attorney Westland is ready to speak or.
Sure. I don't know if Mr. Kelly is here for the developer, if he wanted to give a brief overview of the project, and then I can kind of walk through the highlights of the development agreement.
Yes, that would be very good. What's your name again, sir? Mr. Kelly, you said?
Good evening. I'm Mike Kelly from Park Development Partners. And we are, I think as part of your packet, we have a rendering of the project that we intend to build, which was described as a 400,000 square foot spec building, with the idea being that we do not have any tenants right now. We have spent the last 2 years trying to court tenants for build-to-suit, and we have come close on several occasions, but have not been able to close the deal. So our intention now is to build the building and bring in the tenants after the building is up. What we're finding is the marketplace right now is really demanding space, but unfortunately, a lot of the companies need to place the new lease within 6 months. And so it's not enough time to build the building and lease it up. So consequently, what we're doing is we're building the building, and then we can sign people up. So that's our intention. The site was originally the Calumet Flexicor site, which went bankrupt several years ago. The site has been completely remediated. We have got an agreement with IDEM to completely remediate the site, which has been done. And we are ready to break ground as soon as we get this past this approval process.
Mr. President, I have a few questions for Mr. Kelly. I vaguely remember this project from years past when I was on staff with the city. At this point, what types of tenants are you looking to attract? Are they similar to the previous project? Is it going a different direction? What have you been looking to?
It's wide open. We would prefer to have manufacturers in there that bring in a lot of employment, and that's what we're definitely seeking. And part of that logic is because we're adjacent to the IHB Railroad, that is a real need for manufacturers. So that's exactly who we're seeking.
Confident or very optimistic then? I see which route you had to go, like building this first now and then getting the tenants.
There's a lot of demand for spec space, but without the building up,
right,
we can't really talk about it, but there's a lot of demand for it.
Okay.
And what was the completion date again?
December of next year, December of 23.
Any other things for Mr. Kelly? I'll turn it over to Attorney Westland. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So as Mr. Kelly indicated, it's approximately 400,000 square foot building. The total investment is that they've committed to is in excess of $35 million. The incentives that we are providing, or that it's proposed that we provide pursuant to the development agreement, can be found at the bottom of page 8 which is section 1.10, and in Exhibit C, which is a tax abatement along with waiver of the permit fees. This project is on a pretty tight timeline. As Mr. Kelly indicated, he has to be done pursuant to his agreements with the IEDC by the end of next year. And therefore, as you know, the abatement process is a two-step process. Not only does he have to come here, but then on Monday or the next council meeting, he needs to go to the council and get approval for that. And that is the city's incentive is part of his incentive or part and parcel to his incentive with the IEDC. So that's why this whole development agreement is kind of on a time crunch. Normally, we probably would have held this over for a couple weeks, but I think every week he loses is really bad news in light of the 12-month timeline he's on to build a building. So with that said, there are a couple of changes or amendments to the development agreement. I'll start with the easy ones. Exhibit A right now has a legal description of the property. We're going to insert an actual site plan, which will actually show the building on the acreage. Exhibit B, which is the description of the project, normally you guys would get the pretty picture to show what the building's going to look like. So we do have that, and we're going to insert that as part of Exhibit B to show generally what the building's going to look like. Section 1.1, which I believe is on page 4, currently states that the developer, it currently gives timelines, and it's tied to when approvals from state and federal agencies are acquired. We wanted to kind of, in keeping with Mr. Kelly's timelines with the IEDC, certainly we didn't want to be more stringent than that because those are pretty aggressive. But we did want to have some kind of definitive timelines. So we're going to amend section 1.1 to say that the developer is going to have his federal, state, and local approvals, including a building permit, on or before May 1st of 2023, and that the building will be complete on or before December 31st, 2024. As he's indicated, the IEDC wants him done by the end of next year. So that does give him an additional period of time. If he's substantially complete and getting close and the IEDC gives him more time, then we're not going to have to come back and do an amendment, because I know Mr. Myricks loves amendments that call for more time. And then the last thing is in section 1.10A1, which I believe is found on page 8. The developer's providing a site plan which has to be approved by the parties, and we've agreed that that's a little bit loose, and so we're going to change that language to say provide a site plan and obtain a building permit or improvement location permit, which would be approved by all city parties and agencies. And those are the kind of minor changes. So I think in light of what Africa led off with, what we're looking for is a motion to approve the development agreement contingent upon the 4 items that Africa listed early on, as amended by the 5 amendments that I stated. If you can.
Ms. Tarfer read 5.
I'm sorry, I have an old sheet. Okay,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, I was just gonna say there was 5.
okay.
Our
I
sheet
apologize.
says 4, but she read 5.
I apologize. I grabbed the wrong sheet.
That's how it was.
Okay. Okay.
We have 4.
And could she restate what number 5 was again?
Sure. Number 5 was approval of US EPA item Indiana DNR regarding stormwater discharge into the Grand Calumet River and protection of environmental cap.
Do we anticipate those items and those approvals adding to this timeline significantly? Or is that something that's already been part of the process and it's just putting it in writing?
I think it's been contemplated as part of the timeline originally. Obviously, I think the developer understands that we don't have, the city of Hammond doesn't have control of that stuff, right? Like, so, quite frankly, which is why our timeline is kind of extended to May to give them, November, December, and then 4 months, so half a year to kind of come up with that stuff. It's been discussed at length.
Mr. Kelly, I'd like to add something, I think.
Yes, so we have in fact submitted the documents to all of those regulatory agencies. And at this point, the EPA has already indicated that there is no need for their involvement in this decision. And so in fact, we are just waiting for IDEM and the Army Corps of Engineers. They have all been notified, they all have the documents, and we're hoping to get some sort of answer from them within the next week. They have initially, Army Corps of Engineers has initially told us in emails that there is no issue with our plan.
Thank you for that explanation.
Does the commission have any further questions? Because if not, I'm going to have Attorney Westland say the verbiage and then some consulting on. That would be all right.
If there's no other questions, it would be a motion to approve the development agreement as amended by the 5 items I delineated, contingent upon the reviews and approval of the 5 items that Africa explained at the beginning of the meeting.
I so move.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion then by Commissioner Myrick, seconded by Commissioner Soto Presley. If there's no further questions or discussion for Attorney Westland or Mr. Mike Kelly, then roll call, please.
Talmadge,
Yes.
Soto Presley,
Yes.
Saray,
Yes.
Myrick,
Yes.
Upridge.
Yes, motion passes 5 yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, number 8 is review of the redevelopment budget changes for 2022 and 2023.
Members of the commission, if you look in your package, you'll see the redevelopment budget changes for 2022 and 2023 as stated, and this is just purely for your review. No action is required at this time. The overall budget in 2022 was $428,168. In 2023, it's $474,388 with an increase of $46,220. The personal services was for 2022 was $391,668, and for 2023 it was $437,888 with an increase of $46,220.
Thank you. Just for the record, then, we know they were passed out, and if there's any further questions in another meeting, then we can bring it under whole business. All right, number 9 is acceptance of requests for proposals to lease space for the property commonly known as 5266 Holman Avenue.
I don't think we received anything. Members of the commission, this body previously granted authorization to advertise for the property located at 5266 Holman Avenue, with the bid scheduled to be received and open today. And at this time, I believe we have none that were received. No, Cynthia, we don't have, none were received.
There's no action required.
Correct, no action is required.
Okay, since there was none received, then no action. Number 10 is acceptance of requests for proposals to lease real estate for property commonly known as 417 Fayette.
Members of the commission, on the agenda tonight is the acceptance of requests for proposals to lease real estate for property commonly known as 417 Fayette Street. This commission previously granted authorization to advertise, and today was the deadline to receive proposals for the lease of the real estate at said property. And I believe we received one submission.
That's correct. The one submission is from Northwest, or NWI Homan LLC. They propose to use that parcel as a parking lot. That parking lot is kind of kitty corner to the Bank Calumet building, and that's the developer that is currently reconstructing that building.
Mr. President, I make a motion to refer to staff.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Myrick, second by Commissioner Talmadge, for item number 10 to staff. Can we have a roll call, please?
Talmadge.
Yes.
Little Presley.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Myrick.
Yes.
Pupperidge.
Yes, motion passes 5 yes. Number 11 is authorization to advertise for the sale of real estate for private redevelopment for the property commonly known as 6219 Holman Avenue.
Members of the commission, at this time, we will request authorization to advertise for private redevelopment for the property located at 6219 Holman Avenue. This property is owned by the Redevelopment Commission.
Does anybody want to entertain a motion to that to advertise? Unless you have some questions.
Mr. President, if there's no further discussion, any questions, I make a motion for authorization to advertise for the sale of real estate for private redevelopment for the property commonly known as 6219 Holman Avenue.
Second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Myrick, seconded by Commissioner Soto Presley. Let's have a roll call, please.
Talmadge.
Yes.
Soto Presley.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Myrick.
Yes.
Pupperidge.
Yes, motion passes 5 yes.
Thank you.
Okay, number 12 is approval of Myers Snow Plowing Incorporated Snow Contract for 5800 Holman Avenue.
Members of the commission, if you look in your package, you'll see a snow contract from Myers Snow Plowing, Inc. for the property owned by the Redevelopment Commission located at 5800 Holman Avenue, which is commonly known as the Sub Hub, for $118 per plow or $98 per application for the salting of the parking lots.
And just so you know, as in past, we're crossing out that one paragraph that they're saying about 30 days paid, or he's always in agreement with that, so we always cross it out before we sign it, and it's back to him.
I don't have any questions. He's been doing work a pretty long time for the city. He's been a reputable contractor, so just glad that his business is in Hammond as well, too, so.
Mr. President, I make a motion for the approval of Myers Snow Plowing Incorporated snow contract for 5800 Holman Avenue.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Talmadge, seconded by Commissioner Myers. Let's have a roll call, please.
Talmadge.
Yes.
Soto Presley.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Myrick.
Yes.
Pupperidge.
Yes, motion passes 5 yes. All right, that brings us to number 13, we have acceptance of requests for professional services. There's 6 professional services. We got appraisers, environmental consultant, financial consultant, housing services consultant, HUD, IDIS consultant, and our redevelopment attorney.
I'm going to start with the redevelopment attorney because depending on how this goes. You received 1, and that was mine. Westland and Bennett, Nicole and I submitted as we do annually. Happy to be here.
Thank you for that.
You want to just read them all, and then we're going to refer these to staff for your final approval, right? Or are we approving these tonight?
Well, you should refer it to staff, although on this one, I don't know. I have something to say.
Okay.
But
I'm just wondering if we're doing each one of them, that's why.
no,
Okay.
just I'll read them all,
Okay.
and then we'll. For environmental consultant, you have 2. You have Americo, well, it's Mr. Blasky, I know you're familiar with him. And Enviro Forensics, Steve Hinshaw. Mr. Blasky's office is in Valpo. Mr. Hinshaw has an office in Hammond with Enviro Forensics.
And we have used both of these, right?
Yes, sir. We
Yes,
have.
you've used both of them before. Financial consultant, you have 1, and that's from Carl Sender Dalton. Their office is in Maryville. For housing services consultant, you have 2. One is NSP Consultants LLC, which is Mr. Alamio, offices in Hammond, and then the Arsh Group, whose office is in Maryville. For the HUD IDIS consultant, you have 2. One is from Capital Access, Inc. Looks like they're in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And Mr. Kubal with USANA Development. He's out of Aurora, Illinois. And then I think the last one is the appraisers. You have one from Kovacevic, Stephen Kovacevic.
Out of Gary.
Yes, out of Gary. Jeff Vale, out of Maryville. Valuation Services, they're in Valpo. That's Aaron Ingram. And Martinez Charmat, who was used a bunch. And Martinez's office is,
Yeah, familiar with them.
I think his office is in Lansing. And those are all the,
Is that complete then, all the 6 professional services?
yes.
Okay. Guess that's all we would need, just a motion that we accept them and refer them to staff.
Mr. President, if there's no further questions or discussion, I'd like to make a motion to have staff review the 6 professional services, at item number 13.
second that.
Okay, we have a motion then by Commissioner Myrick, seconded by Commissioner Soto Presley. Let's have a roll call then, please.
Talmadge,
Yes.
Soto Presley,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Myrick,
Yes.
Popperidge.
Yes, motion passes, 5 yes. Okay, number 14 is our bills, register of claims.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to pay the register of claims for September 16th, 2022 through October 13, 2022 for register of claims R62135 through R62283 inclusive.
6-3.
No, 6-3.
Pardon me?
It's R62263. You said R2283.
Oh, did I? Let's see here. Hold on, let me check myself here. Oh, I stand corrected. R62283. Thank you.
You did
6-3.
Commissioner.
The 6-3.
Yes,
You just
6-3.
did that
Six
to
looks like
test.
an 8.
Yes. So much for new glasses.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion then by Commissioner Soto Presley and seconded by Commissioner Myrick. That's the register of claims dating September 16, 2022 through October 13th, 2022, claim R62135 through claim R62263. Is there any questions on these claims for staff? We have Karen here tonight, so. Okay, then roll call, please.
Talmadge,
Yes.
Soto Presley,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Myrick,
Yes.
Popperidge.
Yes, motion passes, 5 yes. Okay, number 14, reports. Ms. Africa-Tarver, would you like to share anything tonight?
Yes, I'd just like to share with the commission the upcoming volunteer breakfast, which will be on Thursday, October 27th at 8 a.m. at the Dynasty. And that is all I have for the commission at this time.
Okay, it's a great event, so if anybody can make it, please come out. All right, I see Ms. Miller was on, so I was gonna, if she wanted to say anything, but I see she signed off. All right, then, number 16, is there any new and unfinished business?
Yes, members of the commission, at this time, we would ask that the next meeting, originally scheduled for November 15th, could be moved to the following week, November 22nd. We're working with the developer on an aspect of their project, so we need a little bit more time, and we wanted to be able to ensure that for a timely approval process, that we sort of revised the meeting date so that they could meet that as well as meet council approval as well.
You can't go.
I know there's a conflict, Ms. Talmadge gets her schedule, like she said, and so it'd be hard for her to switch, and I don't even think she can join in by Zoom, the type of work that she does.
I'm not sure if I can be here. I'm not sure what our date is for parent-teacher conferences, but if I'm not here physically, I can probably be online from my other office.
Right, yeah, you have the option to do that. So
Okay.
we would still have a quorum then, there would be one less in chambers, but someone would be by Zoom, which would be fine.
Mr. President, if there's no further discussion or questions, I'd like to make a motion to move our redevelopment commission meeting from November the 15th to November the 22nd at 4:30 p.m.
Second.
Okay, then we have a motion by Commissioner Myrick, seconded by Commissioner Heather Gray to move the November 15th meeting to November 22nd. Can we get a roll call on that, please?
Talmadge,
Yes.
Soto Presley,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Myrick,
Yes.
Popperidge.
Yes, motion passes with 5 yes. Okay, number 17 is public comment. Public comment is open now. Public comment is open. If anybody want to come forward and speak, you may do so now. Okay, public comment is closed. Public comment is closed. Number 18.
Mr. President, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Can you all signify by aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Meeting is adjourned.